Hi, I'm Max, CEO of Smith & Sons. I'm sitting down with a couple of our franchisees chatting about the ins and outs of franchising as a general contractor with Smith & Sons. All right, Scotty, well tell me, how is it that you got involved in the building industry?
I got involved in the building industry basically right out of high school. Really enjoyed woodworking in high school and, started framing homes and started an apprenticeship with a guy and framed new homes for 3-4 years. And eventually I started doing millworks, installing cabinets, finished carpentry, stuff like that. As I grew a little bit older, then I, opened up my own company and tried to do it out on my own for a while.
Okay. So when you opened the business and you were sort of working for yourself, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
One of the biggest challenges I think that I faced, I was looking at it at a really small perspective. So I was just working by myself basically, and I think that was one of my major failures. Is just not scaling.
And when you were working in there, what was it that you felt challenged all the time? So what was maybe a constant frustration perhaps?
Oh, there was many constant frustrations.
Just give me one. Maybe the biggest.
Not having the proper systems in place, right. and always struggling to try and find the right system and trial and error, and never finding the right system. And
do you think, obviously you can see that now in hindsight, but obviously back then it wasn't as clear?
No, it was never clear back then. Mm-hmm. Now obviously being exposed to this environment is it's very clear now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's. How was it that you discovered Smith & Sons?
I met you, and you and I had a bit of a relationship.
A business relationship?
Yeah, business relationship for a while.
Yeah.
For about, a year and a half or so. That's before we started talking about Smith & Sons, and then I decided to make the jump.
Because that was early days. It was way before we were even, what you might consider as a brand legal to go franchising. We're still doing a lot of stuff, but I think we end up working together and
you and I were
talking about it.
We were doing jobs together, and you were talking about bringing Smith & Sons over to Canada, and then when it happened quick.
Ready to go, weren't we?
Yeah.
Were you? Obviously, you just pointed out a few things. Was there anything specific that you were looking at as a benefit? Because I often say to people that probably selling your franchise is probably the easiest thing I ever did because we'd spent so much time leading up. But was there anything that you that you looked at Smith & Sons and thought, I want to get involved because? What was it that motivated you to sort of, you could have easily rejected it. There was obviously things that you saw that were positive. What were they?
You know what? I really seen the potential in it, in growing and becoming, and it is today. It's grown immensely in the past 2 years. It's grown quite a bit, so I'm quite pleased in my decision.
Okay. So obviously, you weren't really subject to a discovery process, although, the lead up time to the point where we couldn't do anything for a certain amount of time, and then when the time came, we moved you in as a franchisee. So the discovery process, I guess, was different for you, let's say, than it was for some of the other guys. So that wasn't really a question. Was there one thing that helped you decide to join forces with Smithies? In that lead up time, in that discovery process, was there one or two things that stood out to you that made you were happy to commit?
I would say the systems and procedures, and obviously they're always evolving and becoming better and better and better. I see that on a daily basis, so I'm the systems and procedures for sure.
Okay, so what is it that you think you know now that would have made the decision maybe easier to join if you had have known that then? So what is it that you know now that perhaps might have made your decision maybe less scary? You're very comfortable doing, you've got a great, I think we've 10x'd your business after the first 18 months. So what is it now when you look back and you think, I don't know what I was worried about? What is it that you think you know now that might have made the Scott 2 years ago a lot more comfortable about joining with Smith & Sons?
I don't think there was ever any really reluctance to join. I think you know, you and I having that relationship really eased into it. And I think that, yeah, I don't think there was much resistance there.
Yeah, okay. And so how did you feel about rebranding? So moving away from your business and your brand, you know, leaving that behind essentially and taking on the Smith & Sons brand. How did you feel about that?
I gotta be honest with you, it was a little bit difficult because, I mean, you know, we grow to love our company name and think it's the best thing in the world, right? I mean, everybody I think does, even though it was a small little tiny company, it's mine and I built it. But it was a little bit difficult, but at the end of the day, well worth it, absolutely. It was easy to walk away from it.
Now, you see that? Okay.
Absolutely.
And in general, I mean, what way has your business and your life improved since joining Smithy's? When you think about what you had before versus, you know, is there a couple of things that you go, I'm glad I'm with Smithy's because, you know, this is what's made a difference in my business life and or personal life? What would they be?
Well, just scaling the business, I mean, as we mentioned, greatly, like 10 times. I can see a future in my life where, you know, it's going to become financially comfortable for myself. So, yeah, I mean, I've never seen that before. It was always just work, and it wasn't very profitable. Whereas now, you know, I can see the potential and the profits and where my 10-year plan is. And
yeah. So you're 2 years down the track. What do you think if you didn't, let's say you changed your mind at the last minute and you decided not to go with Smith & Sons, where do you think your business would be today, knowing what you know now about, you know, operating a general contracting business? If you had have just carried on down that path, where do you speculate with me?
I think right now I'd have a tool bag on, I'd be whacking nails into wood.
Yeah.
That's what I would be doing. I'd just bust my hump like I was before, right? Not working on my business, not, you know, trying to expand my business. And
okay. Does that scare you a little bit if, you know, in retro?
Totally.
Okay. And how do you feel about being part of the Smith & Sons team now and having access to other GCs and other resources in your corner and, you know, maybe...
It's amazing, really, to have, like, because I was the first one in and then, you know, I've seen it grow and grow and grow and now it's just like a network of, you know, general contractors that I have on speed dial. If there's any sort of strange job or anything that I've never seen before, I can just call them up and go from there, right?
Yeah. So if someone called you today and ask you, why should I join Smith & Sons as a general contractor, what would you say to them?
Just do it, for sure. Make the jump, absolutely. Like, it's well worth it. It might be scary at first, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, because it is a steep learning curve, isn't it? Like there is, I mean...
You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to change, I would say, for sure. And adopt new policies, procedures, and just the way you do things, right? Because there's a way to do it better.